You wanted it, here it is. My review of Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Fathers for DOS and Windows 95. This game was released in '93 by Sierra Entertainment, arguably the most well-known adventure game producer of all time. The game is the first in the Gabriel Knight series, followed by The Beast Within, a Gabriel Knight mystery, and Gabriel Knight 3 Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned, all of which were written by Jane Jensen. Now, when this game came out in 1993, there was only two methods available to you to release a game. You had CD and you had floppy disk. And this game was released on 11 floppy disks. 11. And imagine running around with 11 3.5-inch floppies. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. But the CD-ROM version obviously is one disc, and it also has voice acting and video sequences, which were just still images in the base game. So the presentation for especially this, what you're seeing right now is the CD version, but the presentation for this game was just outstanding in 1993. The environments are really well detailed. The characters are okay, but they still have their problems with the sprite work from the early 90s. But anyway, the sound design and the music is where it really just kicks off, though. The music was composed by Robert Holmes, who is also Jane Jensen's husband, but he does a really good job creating mood music for every single place in this game. I mean, every single place has its own music, and it just fits really well. The voice acting is just amazing. You have Tim Curry as Gabriel Knight, Mark Hamill as Mosley, Michael Dorn, aka Worf, as Dr. John. So it's just ridiculous the amount of talent that they put into this game. Every character is voice acted to perfection, basically. Gabriel's, always sarcastic and everything, but every character, all their subtle hints and everything, you hear it, and it's really great. The voice actors really got into character for this one. Now, while all that is great, the basic gameplay is, what you'd expect from a point-and-click adventure game back in the early 90s. You look for items that you can use into X location, and then when you use them, they're used up in general, unless it's a certain item that you can use again or something. But it's more like a discovery type of game. You try to find out what's going on, what the next step is. And the problem with that is that this game is extremely difficult. It took me, let's see, I got the game back in probably 96, which is the version I have for Windows 95. I beat it last year. 12 years of playing this game, and I finally beat it in 2008. So, 1996 to 2008. That's how long it took me to beat this game. And we're not even talking, I'd play it for maybe an hour. No, I would play this game for 4 or 5 hours on end sometimes and still not be able to figure out certain puzzles. And I finally beat it, and it was just a sense of satisfaction that you can't really believe. I have played this game for 12 years, and it's still fun to play. And that's the weird thing about it. Point-and-click adventure game, you play through it once, you know the story. But in this particular instance, I don't know why, it's still fun. Maybe it's just the fact that it's such a different storyline compared to most adventure games that I have, which are, like King's Quest and Space Quest. They're silly, they're whimsical, all that kind of stuff. This is dark and gritty, and Jane Jensen wrote a wonderful story for this game. I'm not going to spoil any of it for you, but Gabriel is a writer in New Orleans in the early 90s, obviously, and he's investigating these voodoo murders, because voodoo is still a fairly big religion, actually, down in New Orleans, and that's an interesting thing about this game. There was a lot of research done for this game, and you can tell. Trust me, everything you can find in this game that is you'd think would be historically based is. In the second game, for instance, it is deeply based in German lore, and let me tell you, it's true. Except for, obviously the stuff that Jane Jensen made up for flavoring on the supernatural part. But anyway, every single bit of research done for this game was just astounding. It really makes it believable at times. And, this game has a certain charm about it that's just, you can't really get outside of a point-and-click adventure game. Now, that charm was lost in the late 90s when they went to 3D and all that kind of stuff, and the genre died. But, Gabriel Knight is one of the shining jewels of the genre. So if you're really into this type of genre, then you really need to check this one out. It is definitely like one of the pinnacles, with the pinnacle being the second game in the series, ironically enough. But I highly recommend it to pretty much everybody that will play this type of game. It's difficult to find anymore because they haven't re-released it, but if you manage to find a copy on eBay, then I would say go for it, because it is definitely a worthwhile experience. A truly awesome game. In fact, it is my favorite adventure game of all time, despite the second one being even better, which is kind of weird, but, you know, it's still my favorite. I highly recommend it to everybody, and thanks for watching.